Coming to you from beautiful Southern California, recorded in front of an 8x10 glossy of a live studio audience. This is The Dynamic Duos, a movie talk show that is exactly like all the others, but they don't have the host with the most, the host you'll want to toast, a man that needs no introduction, although we will anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony DeGioia. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the very first episode of The Dynamic Duos, a movie talk show pretty much like all the rest. I'm your host, Anthony DeGioia, but it takes more than one to make a duo. I can't do it by myself. I have a great host with me, a host that does pretty much the same as I do. He covers film. He works all in the world of film coverage. He does so much, in fact, that I had to pretty much write everything down that this man does so that I wouldn't forget everything. He manages his own YouTube channel. He operates the RAMA'S screen official website. He uploads daily on both of these. He does movie and TV reviews. He does news coverage, interviews, premieres, red carpet events, press junkets. There's more. Film festivals, anniversary events. He does editorial pieces, trailer discussions, and much more. He just started doing some Q&A moderating recently. He covers those as well. And he hosts the Rockin' It with Rama Screen live every Sunday. My very first guest, thank you so much for joining me. What's up, Rama?
What up, Anthony? You forgot I also sell stuff on eBay.
One more thing. See, I knew I was going to miss something. That's why I had to make this long list, and I started writing it, and it got longer and longer and longer, and I was like, I'm going to have to take a couple breaths to get this out. But thanks so much for joining me. How's your day going?
Good. Thank you. The weather is nice. It's much better than this past week's gloomy Gotham City weather this past week, so I love it.
Yeah, we're not used to it down here in Southern California, the rain all of a sudden. It's like other people in parts of the country, They're like, they don't know what they're complaining about. It's 2 days of rain and it's all sunny now and we got rid of it. But it was a rough week for us.
It was. I mean, any minute Batman was going to show up. It was that gloomy.
Definitely. There's actually one thing that I left out on this list, and that is you're now a U.S. citizen. You got your U.S. citizenship. Congratulations on that. How was that whole experience?
It's good until jury duty comes around. So right now I'm enjoying it.
Have you got one yet?
Not yet. Not looking forward to it.
No, well, I'm super happy for you for that. I saw your video where you were talking about it, and you just seemed so proud and so respectful to get that. And I think, growing up in this country and being born here, I think that's something that a lot of people tend to forget. I didn't really have that experience, and just to, in the social climate that we're in right now, to see someone that's so prideful for it was just awesome. So I knew I wanted to set that aside and speak about it on its own. So let's get to know you a little bit. Let's just pick your movie mind and let's see where Rama came from. Tell us a little bit about just how you became into just loving movies. Were there any movies that stuck out to you?
Well, I'm gonna keep it short. It's a long story, but to shorten it, basically, I've been watching movies since I was a kid. I always tell people that I learned English language by watching Die Hard. So, but yeah, Die Hard is one of the earliest films I watched as a kid, and also Terminator 2: Judgment Day is the film that my family can watch as a family together. And so, we had a DVD store, rental store nearby that we go to when I live in Indonesia, because I grew up in Asia. And so movies has been my escape. Growing up, I was a nerd. I got bullied into doing other people's homeworks. So when I came home, movies is like, my fantasy world, where I could be with my heroes, Bruce Willis, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so... And it goes on till when I become an adult, and I started my business degree in college, and I went to an entrepreneur class, and one of the projects was to start up a venture or start up a business. I didn't have any idea or business ideas, so my friend says, "Hey, you've always loved movies. Why don't you just do blogging movies?" I was like, "Blogging movies? What is that?" And so he is a graphic designer. He kind of started the website for me. And the rest is history, basically.
Right. That's awesome. And I can relate to a lot of that, just escaping into movies. That's definitely one of the reasons why I fell in love with just film as a whole. Just you can watch a different movie and go to a different place anytime you want. And it's like I moved from California up to the Pacific Northwest, and it just rained almost all year around, you know, so you're just inside all the time. And I had that video store. It was a little Mountain View video store. They had their little section of videos, and I would go there and get my WrestleManias and my Van Dammes, my Seagals, my Stallone movies, all of those. I wasn't always allowed to watch the rated R movies, but I had some friends that had HBO and Showtime and Cinemax, so I would get my Passenger 57 and all my R-rated movies that I wouldn't normally get to watch. I would do that. But what was there a turning point when you decided that covering film would be something you wanted to do for a career?
Yeah, that was probably in 2010, because prior to 2010, the Rama screen was birthed got designed and made in 2007. So that for 3 years, I was probably just watching movies and then reviewing them on the blog. But 2010, I got invited to cover Tron Legacy. Disney said, "Hey, you got viewership, you got audience, come check us, come check out our events." And so from that point on, I was like, let me contact other studios and see if I could also cover their events. And so I started knocking on doors, meaning sending emails. It's like, "Hey, my name's Rama. I have this much viewership, this much audience. Can I cover your event?" And just the ball just started rolling from there. But to your point as well, growing up, just really quick, I remember, my friends and I, we love movies, so we sometimes, because we had like active imaginations, so we acted out our heroes, our diehard heroes or Terminator heroes, what have you, and then we would kind of recite, "Hey, do you remember that line?" And we try to impersonate our favorite movie stars as they say those memorable, like, iconic lines. I mean, those things, man. That's what I mean by escape. When things get hard during the day, or whatever situations came along, movies are there to just like get you happy again. Even if it's horror, even if it's a Oscar-worthy movie, it's like, oh man, for a minute it can be better again.
Yeah, and it's the same parallels to that as we get older. I mean, I still, even now, they may not be movies from the 80s and 90s. Sometimes they are not childhood movies. Sometimes they're just movies in general, and it's still an escape. I mean, I could be stressed out from a day at work. I could be stressed out from just other life issues going on. Sometimes it's just like a part of your life when you watch a certain movie takes you back to that. It can connect you with different friends and stuff. And that's what I think like the best parts of just watching movies. And that's why I definitely wanted to talk about movies as part of like something that I wanted to make a career, was just because of the fact that there was this always, it's never the same. I mean, people are like, "How could you write? Doesn't it get boring writing movie reviews or talking about movies?" And it's like, no, because it's like, I mean, it's a different movie every time. It can be the same movie, but it's different performers, it's different directors, it's just different, all kinds of different genres. So, when you were talking about knocking on doors, I definitely have sent out those knocking on door emails. I do that basically every day. So what's a day in Rama's work life like?
Yeah.
What's Rama's schedule from when he wakes up? This guy, I mean, you're pumping out content all day long. You are my like news line. I mean, I get your alerts all day. I'm in the know of everything basically from you. I don't go to like IndieWire or any of the other ones. So it's like, when you hit the floor running, it's like, what's that like?
It's funny you mentioned that, because my friend said, Scott Menzel, he said like, "Hey Rama, you should change your website's name to Rama Wire instead of Rama Screen," because I always keep posting press releases. So yeah, basically waking up every day after doing some push-up. Sometimes I don't do push-up because I'm lazy, but I go on my computer and I start like checking my emails for any press releases. If any that that's worthy of posting, I'll post them. Of course, trailers, I'll post them as well. And then I usually, when it comes to videos, I try to target 2 videos per day. If not like reviews, it would be like YouTube live stream, right, an opinion or something. And so I try to do it, minimum 2 videos per day. But yeah, blog, dude, anytime, as soon as something hits the web, a trailer, Kevin Hart steps down, whatever news, I post them. I try to get online and put up my laptop, go to the nearest Starbucks if I'm on the freeway, and post them there. And that's what I do.
It's awesome dedication.
Thank you, brother.
Awesome dedication. What out of all the events I live vicariously through your videos and your posts and your
Oh yeah,
pictures. I was like,
thank
wow,
you.
that looks like a cool party. It's like, wow, that Cheech and Chong 40th anniversary event looks pretty fun. It's like, oh wow, hey, sitting in the parking lot watching Die Hard seems pretty cool. What types of events are your favorite? Is there one, or do you like the variety, or does one stick out as like, I love press junkets, I like interviews. What really sticks out as like, this is going to be a fun one?
That's a good question. Yeah, I never put thought into that. I think to answer your question though, I think overall all of them I enjoy them. Like you said, the Die Hard one that was fantastic, 30th anniversary screening, and also I think if I had to put like a top favorite, I always love TV junket. When I'm actually sitting across from the talent. And then I love TV junkets more than I do audio interviews because I don't have time. Not that I'm lazy. I don't have time to transcribe and type everything. Sometimes,
Right.
yeah, that's as I get busier. TV junkets, you just do some video editing and boom, and you post it, you air them, and I love that. It's so sufficient, so easy, so it's such a streamlined thing. Other events, let's see, this past year. I love the holiday parties that I just had with Fox Searchlight and other studios. Free food, free drinks. I'm usually not a party guy because I'm introverted and I'm really shy. That I can't talk to women, even though I like them. So so I just go there for the food, basically.
The food and the fancy drinks.
Yeah, basically.
I would have to say, I think my favorite would be those anniversary events.
Oh yeah.
To be a kid growing up loving Die Hard, and then to be all these years later in the parking lot covering the 30th anniversary for it, and it's just like, wow, I came a long way from as a kid watching that on the couch to covering this event. I mean, with films and stuff, you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm on this red carpet. I've had those feelings before where it's like that, but I think that just nostalgia of pulling that old love of film directly into like this new age of covering something would be great. And it's like, I'm going to definitely piggyback with you on some of those anniversary coverage events for sure.
Let me ask you this. Which anniversary event of any movie that you're nostalgic or you grew up watching or loving that you would love to attend?
I was Back to the Future.
Oh,
if they were to do like, what are we coming up on, like the 35th anniversary of that? Maybe I think they just had the 30th like a few years ago, like something like that, where it's just like, they're going to go all out. It's just going to be a show. That Die Hard one would have been cool. If they had like a major Goonies anniversary party, that would be amazing because they're going to have like the backdrops and everything would be fantastic. I would definitely, yeah.
I saw your poster on the back. A Ferris Bueller's Day Off anniversary would be fantastic.
That one too. To like go to the site, maybe if they had like a big blowout where they, Coming to America. That was the one I missed when they did they transformed the McDowell's over in Jersey. For that, it was like a week. I think it was over the anniversary of the Coming to America a few years ago. That would have been pretty cool. Yeah, that would have been cool to go check out. So I got a game lined up. Let's have a little bit of fun. We got to know you a little bit. It's called the Association Game. Basically, I'm just going to name an actor or an actress, and just after a couple seconds, just name the first film that comes to mind. How do you think? You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. The first choice is, she's a 2-time Academy Award winner, Jodie Foster.
Ooh, Silence of the Lambs. And do you want me to keep going or just one?
Just one is good.
Okay.
Because we'll see what you got compared to what I got. We're going to see how in tune our minds are.
All right. I love this.
All right. The next actor up also is a 2-time Academy Award winner, Denzel Washington.
Remember the Titans.
All right. The next actress has 1 Academy Award, Charlize Theron.
Oh, Monster.
All right. Very good. All right. The next one, he has no Academy Awards, but we definitely love him anyways. Keanu Reeves.
The Matrix.
Okay. And the last one, she's a 1-time Academy Award winner, and she pretty much makes everybody tear up all the time. Viola Davis.
Widows. That's all come to mind right now.
Okay. Very good choices. Yeah, for Jodie Foster, I had Silence of the Lambs too. I mean, I think
Yes.
anytime you think about Jodie Foster, it's like, don't you just always go to that movie? It
Yep.
was just. I have a funny story about that movie. I think that's probably why every time I hear Jodie Foster, I think of that. It was like, I won't say who in my family took me, but I was actually taken to the theater to
Uh-huh.
see that movie
And
with
then?
some older people. And, you know, I had seen the Halloweens and I had seen the Nightmare on Elm Street, but that movie just really just it freaked the shit out of me. I mean, Anthony Hopkins was a trip. That guy's pulling girls into the van. He's pulling the clothes open to see all these Buffalo Bill. I mean, that movie just tormented me so much, and I never actually watched that movie again for many years until I was probably like in my 20s, like early 20s. I watched it again and I appreciated it for a whole bunch of other different reasons, because it's a fantastic film. But yeah, that one was one of those ones for a while. There was like, I watched that one a little bit too young.
I
Um,
I love the because there's so many memorable moments in that film, but I love that line fava beans and Chianti.
yeah, the perfect
Oh.
delivery. He was terrifying. I swear I had nightmares of him wearing that mask that he had in just without the walker, and he was like he wasn't all stretched up and restrained. He was able to walk around, and I didn't have nightmares about a lot of the other ones, but he definitely popped in there a few times. It's funny, Denzel Washington, Remember the Titans. Never
Mm.
seen it.
Okay.
I need
Okay.
to see it.
One of
I
the
definitely
best one of the best football films you'll ever see, I promise you. But it also it has social commentary, because it
Okay.
deals with racial attention.
Nice.
Because it's a period piece, I think in the 70s or 60s. So
Right.
it has that element to it as well. And of course, Denzel, he has that Denzel moment in all his movies.
Yeah.
So he lifted up what's already a good movie.
Yeah, I need to check that one out. I think it came out kind of during that run where there was just a lot of those football movies. It was
Yeah.
like The Rock had one, and then Matthew McConaughey had one, and I think Mark
Keanu Reeves
Wahlberg
had one.
was in one where it played for the Jets. Just a lot of those like kind of
Right.
dramatic football movies, and I just missed that one. I definitely want to check it out. For Denzel Washington, I said Training Day, not because I think it's like his best movie, but
Yes.
just because King Kong ain't got shit on me. I think that was just like I remember him. It's like some people you remember them because of that. It's like, oh, you go to their signature movie, and then sometimes it's their signature character, and sometimes it's just the line that they delivered the best. But yeah, I mean, it's like when you say Denzel Washington, and it's kind of like, the first thing I think of is Training Day, and it's kind of like with Charlize Theron too. It's like you said, Monster. I've seen that movie one time. I vaguely remember it. I remember it being like really kind of like a lot of weight to it, kind of powerful. That's what she got her Oscar for, wasn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's like, but nowadays it's like for me, you say Charlize Theron, and the first thing I think of is just that fight sequence from Atomic Blonde.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
It's not the best movie. It's a serviceable movie, but I mean that scene alone, just
Well,
it's memorable.
the stairway fight. Remember the
Yes.
one take one? Yeah.
Yeah, that stairway fight that goes all the way up into the apartment.
Oh.
It was just so well done, and it's like it kind of overshadowed like a lot of her other movies, because she's had a lot of great films. But someone says Charlize Theron, the first thing I picture is her with that hose wrapping that guy up, just slamming him all against the
And
wall.
real quick, I don't want to get too long into this. I apologize, but when the movie Atomic Blonde came out, I had my reservations about it. I had my concerns before watching the film because the last time she did action was Aeon Flux, and I didn't like Aeon Flux. I
It's just
hated
a
that
little
film.
too stylized. That
Yeah, I
movie.
mean,
That,
it was just so weird.
the girl from Mila Jovovich did another movie similar to that. Wasn't
Yeah,
there? She did like that wasn't Resident Evil. I think she did like a futuristic sci-fi movie that had a lot of fight choreography in it. It was like one of those ones that kind of during that just time period in film where it was like dance fighting for a while,
yeah.
and then it just didn't have that. It was so over
It didn't land.
choreographed that it doesn't hold up. Yeah, for Keanu Reeves, that was the same with me. It's like you said, The Matrix. That was a close one. I think that's definitely his like most just iconic film. For some reason, I just think Johnny Utah in Point Break.
Oh yes, yes. Where
I
he shoots
know.
up in the sky.
Yeah, just him trying to surf. It's like I don't know. That was just like I think that was like probably the first movie where it was like Keanu Reeves was in, I think he was in Interview with the Vampire, and he had his other movies. He had Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, but I think it was really Point Break was that movie to where it was like him and Patrick Swayze. It was like after I watched that movie, I wanted to pretty much see them in any other movie that they did.
So did you like Point Break remake?
No, you know what? That's a shame too, because I think if that movie wouldn't have been so bad if it was just called anything other than Point Break and the characters anything else. Because I mean, you can't deny that those action sequences were fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, each one, it was a beautifully shot film, but it was just such a garbage story with just disposable characters, and it didn't do anything for me. Widow's a fantastic film. I thought she was great in it. I think Suicide Squad again. It's a scene where it just jumps out at me. It's like when she shoots all the FBI agents at the end. It's like she actually made me tear up in Fences, when she was going out there with Denzel Washington and she had her moment where she was tearing up and she was just going off on him. And she even made me tear up a little bit in Widows when she was in that scene right after the husband passes away and she realizes that she's in way over her head in this thing. But yeah, just the way she pulls out that pistol while Will Smith's just watching and she just wipes out everybody in the room was just cold.
See, I agree with you. I agree. Of course,
and memorable because she sold it.
Yes, I agree with you because I have 1,001 problems with Suicide Squad, obviously. But she knocked it out of the park as Amanda Waller because I disagree with people saying like if people. I don't know if people actually say this, but if people say, "Oh, Amanda Waller to Suicide Squad is Nick Fury to Shield or Nick Fury to Avengers," no, not exactly, because Amanda Waller is a heartless, like cold-blooded, killer.
Yes.
Nick Fury is just manipulative. And Viola Davis really embodied that. So yeah, Suicide Squad was a shitty movie in my book, but she did great.
What's been your most memorable interview, either good or bad or just funny or OMG moment?
Okay.
Which one sticks out? Fan moment?
Yeah. There's different kinds of interviews, right? There's roundtable interviews where you share a table with other press, and there's a press conference where it's like a panel, like a Comic-Con panel. The talents are up in the front and in a big room of press. And then there's one-on-one, which is one-on-one audio or one-on-one TV. And so I have a couple of stories that I want to share with you. First of all, the press conference back in 2011, I think, or 2012. Tom Hanks directed this movie with Julia Roberts starring in it called Larry something, about a guy who came back to college. Tom Hanks played the guy. And so I usually would dress as Superman. Like I have my Superman shirt on and then I have a suit over it. And so from the panel, he saw me. It's like, "Hey, Superman, I like your shirt, man." And I was like, "Hey, thank you, Tom." It's like, because Julia Roberts said to Tom, "Hey, Tom, there's Superman there. Hey, what's up?" And then he shook my hand after the press conference. So that's probably like one of the most memorable. Of course, it's not on camera. If it's not one-on-one, obviously. So
it's locked in the head, though. It's locked in your brain forever.
Yeah, exactly. And for the camera, for the one-on-one camera, I want to say Morgan Freeman. Oh my God. Interviewing Morgan Freeman, Shawshank, $1 Million Baby, Driving Miss Daisy. I was just in awe. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm just so glad that, because I always have this problem because, English is my second language. So sometimes I would stumble on my grammar or my enunciation. But so prior to, I kid you not, man, prior to entering the room of the interview, because I have to stand on the hallway with the other press. We have to stay quiet because the interview is going on inside. And so I just mumble, trying to recite my question in my head and in my lips. It's fantastic. Those are probably the two most memorable moments. Least favorite, I can't think of any. I know that if you ask me, people always ask me, "Hey, Rama, are there celebrities who are jerks that you've met?" Will Ferrell is one of them. But I did not interview Will Ferrell that day. I just met him, and he seemed like he was not in the mood. Maybe he had a long day, or he was troubled by some situation, and I just happened to, came up to him during that troubled mood. So, but yeah, he was jerkish to me. But I didn't take it personally. But
Yeah.
other than that, everybody else was pretty cool.
That's awesome. That's why it's like I say I watch your interviews because you have like that. The very first red carpet event I covered was the San Diego International Film Festival, and
Yes.
I lined up along the rope, and I had my tiny little piece of paper that said Silver Screen Analysis, and I was so proud, and I was so sweaty, and I had already changed into my second shirt, and it was San Diego, so it was like 80 degrees. And I was so nervous that I didn't talk to as many people as I wanted to, just because I felt like okay, I'm all sweated out, and I'm all the way down here at the end, and it was so nerve-wracking but awesome at the same time. And it's like it's gradually gotten better as I've done more.
Yes.
But it was like, what was your very first big event that you covered? Were you nervous? How did it go? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I can't remember the first junket because I've covered so many. Like I said, Tron Legacy is probably the first that I can remember, but that was not a junket. That was a red carpet premiere. And so, back then I did not do any video. I was doing just written blog, so I was with I had my audio tape with me. So that's probably the oldest of the event that I can remember doing, or the first event. And then the rest is kind of a bit of a blur.
So for that first 5 months or so, was it kind of nerve-wracking? I want to get. What time do I get there? Where do I stand? Is people watching me? Because I always feel like, oh, they're going to be like, what is he doing here? Like, I feel like I stick out. Is that just a common thing?
No, you're right. I'm sorry. You are so correct.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up because, because I'm not Entertainment Tonight. I'm not Mario Lopez. I'm not Access Hollywood. So there's always, for me, I don't know about you, but I feel like there's a self-esteem thing going on for me. It's like, oh man, I guess, it's, man, look at all these big boys next to me. Like, get out of here, Brad. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry, sir. Yeah, you're right. I'm not supposed. But so it took me a while to finally, say like, hey, you know what? Screw you guys. I got my press badge. I got my spot. I'm not going anywhere. I'm gonna be here. So it took me a while to actually find that or gain that confidence. But yeah, I'm with you there, definitely.
Yeah.
And by the way, San Diego Festival, let's do it, man. You and I together one of these years.
Yeah, they changed the month on me this year.
That's right.
And they moved it up, and it completely threw everything off. But yeah, next year I'm definitely going to be locked into that because yeah, it was. I enjoy covering it. It's so close to home, and you cover pretty much a lot of the film festivals up and down Southern California, right?
That's true. Which
ones? Any ones that stick out to you as your favorites? As far as just the atmosphere that they create, just the proximity of the theaters from one another.
I cover every year, so usually LA Film Festival, but unfortunately they shut down LA Film Festival recently. But I also cover Newport Film Festival and of course San Diego I just mentioned. And I'm gonna cover Santa Barbara. I cover Santa Barbara Film Festival, and I just applied for Palm Springs. We'll see if I get approved for that one. But anything locally, within the radius of Southern California, I try to go there.
Nice.
And the thing is with film festivals, not necessarily just the big movies. The little indie guys, they love any coverage they can get. So they'll be like, really like, hey, Rama, come over. We'll treat you food. We'll give you a parking spot. Come cover our film. So that you always feel like big.
Yeah, you're Entertainment Tonight over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Plus it's like I love film festivals because I just love going to watch the movies.
Yes.
I love when the lights go off and the theater kicks on and that, credit starts going. It's like, okay, hey, let's get it on. You know what I mean? Well, that actually leads us into our first main topic, pet peeves and annoyances at the theater. We all have them. You go to movies on a weekly basis, just like I do. What's your, 2 or 3 top pet peeves?
Okay. I know that people will generally answer this with, cell phones or people speaking or talking, in the theaters. But, and that's cool. Those are our pet peeves. But my pet peeve, in addition to those, are one of them is previews that go on too long. I hate that. I hate it, because I've gone to watch a movie and the previews are like 11 trailers or 11 previews. I was like, what is going on? It's supposed to start at 12, but it doesn't. The movie doesn't start till like 12:20, and that's not the previews are even after the Regal first look or the commercials that the theater has.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I hate that. I'm like, I got plans the rest of this evening. You know, the movie's supposed to end by 3:00, and I'm supposed to go to another friend's house, so it just messes up my schedule. I hate that. So, and my second pet peeve, I don't know if you have gone to theaters or advanced screenings where they have like a radio station giving out, giveaways.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
KFW 1.3 FM, and they'll have like a show before the movie. I freaking hate that. They'll like they shoots out shirts, from their shirt guns. I hate that.
Those are those shirts that you can never iron the wrinkles out.
Yes.
I got a shirt from a sporting event like 3 years ago. I've washed it like 3 times. I've ironed the crap out of that thing, and it still has just the creases in it. But yeah, I totally get you. And I'm kind of on the same page with it, not necessarily being cell phones and people talking, but I think my number one pet peeve is just all the new loud snacks that people sell at the theaters now, and then the way people eat them, so rude and just, when you're at just watching a very suspenseful moment or a very like emotionally impactful moment, and then you just hear like the bag of chips, or when they bring their own snacks in and they're opening up the grocery store plastic and rooting to the bottom of it.
Yes.
And nacho guy at the theater.
Can I tell you a story?
You don't need the nachos, because it's just like, why would you get the loudest snack you could get? And that was one of the ones that's like, really, whatever happened to like the old days of like, waiting till the guns go off to start digging in there and doing all that. That was definitely one of my pet peeves that I've noticed getting increasingly more frequent this year compared to time before. I mean, you've always had the loud drinkers that try to get every sip. The other one that was like another real pet peeve of mine was like, and it's not really a pet peeve, it's just my preference, I guess. It's like the luxury theaters. I mean, I enjoy the reclining seats and all that stuff if I can go get that, but like the ones that have like in-theater service. I went to a few of those this year, and I found each one to be just distracting. It drove me nuts. It's like you got the AMC theaters with the reclining seats. If you go to like the art house theaters, the landmarks and stuff that have the reclining seats, I dig the reclining seats. But I don't know about the in-theater service. It's just, it's been very distracting to me. Do you have that issue?
Oh yeah. I was gonna share you a story, if I may. When you mentioned the loud snacks, dude, I kid you not, because I had my popcorn watching A Quiet Place, and I didn't want to piss off anybody. It's just like, because it's a silent movie basically, and it's like, where's the action? Come on, I want to eat my popcorn, because you don't want to upset anybody. As far as the recliners and the luxury seats thing, I get you, man, and you know what, I that's why it gets to the topic of 4DX. Sony is releasing a bunch of movies next year with the Smell-O-Vision, the seats that, not just luxury, but actually can move. And I find that I've done it once for Meg. And the thing is, I don't know if I could endure 2 hours of that. If it's like a theme park ride where it's like only like 5 minutes, I'll be okay. Yeah. But shaking like for 90 minutes or 2 hours, I would get annoyed. So that's a pet peeve too.
Yeah, and I haven't done that. I had to try that. And it's like, and I get it. I mean, I'm more of just a person. I'd rather go before the movie and have some dinner and a couple drinks and talk about what I'm expecting, or go have dinner after and talk about what we just watched, as opposed to, it's like, I don't know. I don't want to be having a big plate of food and dump something on my lap and then sit there for 45 minutes not knowing that I got like a pile of cheese on my jeans just soaking in. You talk about A Quiet Place. That was actually a cool experience in the theater, because that was a packed out theater for that one, and I was about 2/3 of the way up. So when the screen would get bright and the noise would kick, you could just see hands going up, and it's like,
everybody's
still a little bit of faith left in humanity. It's like they at least get the gist. you could hear every single person clear their throat and sniffle throughout the whole movie, and I've never heard so many sick people in a theater just because normally a lot of them are muffled out.
Yeah.
But you could literally hear every clear of the throat, every cough, every sneeze, which is fine. It's just going to happen. But I thought it was funny that where anytime noise would kick up or something, you could just see the shadow of people's hands, like, oh, this is my chance to stuff it in.
They get the idea. And I wanna before we move on to the next topic, I wanna share you also, and I apologize, this might sound bragging or boasting, but to the chair kicking thing, in 2015, I went to the press screening for Star Wars: The Force Awakens at Walt Disney Theater, and I met Conan O'Brien. It's like, hey, Conan, I'm a big fan. Hey, how you doing? Conan brought his whole family there to the screening, and he ended up sitting right behind me, and a couple times, or maybe more than a couple times, he would kick my seat. And I'm thinking in my head, it's like, okay, he's a tall guy, and Conan is really tall. And I was like, maybe that's that space problem thing. His leg is really long. His legs are long. So maybe I was like, But after a few times, like, oh my god. But then again, I don't want to make a scene because it's Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. I think I would give Conan the leeway. And it's like,
Exactly.
well, I may have been completely distracted throughout this whole entire damn movie, but I'll always have the story of Conan O'Brien kicking my chair.
Exactly.
It's like, that's what you say. It's like, I was at this movie and this guy was just kicking the shit out of my chair from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie. And just lead with that. And you're like, why didn't you say nothing? Well, because it was Conan O'Brien. And then you just close it out like that. That's how I would deliver that story. You lead in with the setup, and then you knock it down at the end with the name drop.
Thank you, bro.
All right, let's go into our next game. So in this one, I'm going to give you two options. One of them can stay. The other must go forever. So I'm going to name them off. I'll talk about 5 seconds and give you some time to think about it. And then I'll ask you which one you want to pick, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so I pick the thing, and then you ask me the thing, or?
Well, no, I'm going to pick the two things that you have the option of, and you have to pick which one disappears and is gone forever.
Oh, okay. All right.
From all memories and all existence.
All right.
Some of them may be easier than others, but I'll name them out there for you. I'll give you about 5 seconds to think about which one has to be erased from. You don't have to go right off the bat because some of them may be a little bit tougher to think about. But okay. I'm going to start you off with an easy one. You got two great films, but one of them has to go between Deadpool and Logan.
Deadpool.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that choice because I picked the same thing.
Yes, I love Logan.
I think the chances of being able to redo a Deadpool again is much easier to duplicate than being able to pull off. Don't you think?
I think so. I mean, Hugh Jackman is so Wolverine, man. I can't picture anybody else.
He had that whole run of films leading up to it.
And at the end of Logan, when you see the graveside, you're just hoping for the three claws to like show up.
Yeah, like it's not over. It's like he's not all the way gone. Yeah, I mean, it's like I think Deadpool was a great movie. It's lightning in a bottle. But I mean, Logan is just like the perfect send-off for just all his performances. Yeah, I agreed with you. I definitely picked that one. All right, this one's a little bit different. The next one is one career or the other has to go forever between Jean-Claude Van Damme and Steven Seagal.
Oh,
so what you got?
Steven Seagal's got to go.
I'm with you too, man. I definitely, Marked for Death, Out for Justice, Above the Law. His first six movies are great. But man, that guy's been riding the DVD straight to video shelf for since the late 90s? Yeah,
and in his movies are, because he always co-stars with rappers that are not famous.
Oh, yeah.
And then his choreography, martial art choreography, is like nothing really unique or stylish about them.
It's the same.
Yeah.
He's sitting in there, and it's like, and basically, he's just doing one film of each of Master P's No Limit Records crew. He's doing one with Silk the Shocker, and just working his way all around. And it's like, we're gonna cap it off. Master P's in this one.
and I think the same argument probably can be made about Jean-Claude Van Damme, but I can watch him doing the helicopter kick 1,000 times, and I won't get tired of it.
Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme's movies have a charm to them a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, Van Damme wasn't a one-trick pony. I mean, his movies were all kind of the same. I mean, he did have his Dennis Rodman movie days, Double Team and stuff like that, but I think I thought he had some solid hits, like that one where he's in the country, Nowhere to Run was solid. He's doing he had his classics like Bloodsport and Kickboxer, but I mean, he popped in, he did even Street Fighter's totally cheesy as hell, but he actually felt like he was doing something good. So it's like, hey man, if he's buying it, I'm gonna buy it. Plus, it's like that movie came out in the height of like my 7-Eleven Street Fighter 2 days, and it's like, man, Guile, Jean-Claude Van Damme, sign me up all day for that one.
Sorry, my favorite is actually Hard Target, because Jean-Claude Van Damme, exactly, with the big mullet. Because Jean-Claude Van Damme's trademark movies are tournament movies. He's always about tournaments, with the exception of The Expendables and Hard Target. So Hard Target's my favorite Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, as a guilty pleasure Jean-Claude Van Damme, the action movie fan that I am, I don't watch any of the Steven Seagal ones, so I wouldn't really know how they hold up, but I won't be surprised to tell you that some of the straight-to-video Jean-Claude Van Damme movies are pretty solid. I mean, he did this one, Enemies Closer, where he plays this like eccentric bad guy, and it's totally kind of tongue-in-cheek, and it's a little over the top, but it's got Thomas Everett Scott and Orlando Jones in it. Yeah. And it's kind of like a simple action movie. And I was like, that's actually pretty good. He did this other one called Assassination Games with Scott Adkins. And it's like, these are like straight to video movies, but it's like that's an entertaining home watch for me. I mean, it actually shows effort and shows quality. And it's like, I started like 5 minutes of one of these Steven Seagal movies a while back, and I couldn't even. He got like 3 lines in. His hair's all spray painted on. He's walking around with his hands kind of crossed over, and it's just he's trying to sell that same shtick, and it just wasn't working for me. So let's get into our next choice. Yes. You have to pick between 2 Nicolas Cage films: The Rock or Con Air.
Oh, The Rock has to go.
I'm with you too, man.
Yes, I love Con Air, bro. Man, the hair.
I agree with you, and that's funny. We've been totally in agreement on all 3 of these so far, because for some reason, I think Con Air holds up. The cheese holds up better, and I think some of the Bayisms from the other one seem a little tired from The Rock. Oh. I mean, The Rock is like, Nicolas Cage is a great character in that, and Sean Connery is excellent. But I don't know, the movie itself is just a little too melodramatic and just
too drawn out.
Yeah. And Con Air has just got John Malkovich. It's got a great cast. It's totally it knows it's cheesy. He's got his hair extensions in there. I mean, it just reeks of like the 90s, and it kind of locks it in there. All right, the next one you have to pick between 2 franchises. All right, okay. Die Hard or Lethal Weapon. Both great franchises.
Lethal Weapon's gotta go, bro.
You see, I said Die Hard had to go.
No.
Yeah, because honestly, it's like I think Die Hard had to go just because I think 1, 2, and 3 are fantastic. But I think the last 2 didn't really hold up. But I think it's like if you were to sit there and you were to force me to watch one of these franchises on repeat, I think all 4 of the Lethal Weapon movies hold up from start to finish. So that's where I was like, it was tough though. I had to sit there for a second, and I was like, but it's John McClane. And I was like, but it's Martin Riggs. And it's like, and you got Roger Bertha. And I was like, and for some reason the stories hold up better. And it's like, I love Die Hard with a Vengeance. Don't you? Do you think you like that with Samuel L. Jackson? I thought they were fantastic together.
Yeah, and it is the director of the original one, John McTiernan.
Yeah,
so it's fantastic. Now, I I do agree with you, though. You made a good point. I mean, I just love Die Hard franchise, so I have to let Lethal Weapon go. But you are correct. The fourth and the fifth Die Hard movies were, especially the fifth one, it was terrible. The one where they were in Russia with John
Yeah.
McClane's son, that was just terrible.
That was the one that felt cheap to me.
Yes.
It's like Live Free or Die Hard was with the plane at the end and all that. It seemed excessive and over the top, but I would say 3/4 of that movie are solid.
Well, the thing is, the fourth one, Live Free or Die Hard, its biggest mistake was that it was PG-13. So it was very watered down. John McClane didn't even say, the MF word. So, but to your point, Lethal Weapon, I remember 1998. I was so concerned about it because that was Jet Li's big, kind of Hollywood thing, and so, but that fight scene at the end, Riggs, Murtaugh, and Jet Li, that was pretty awesome. It was pretty hardcore.
Will it to me, Riggs. Will it to me, Riggs. I'm just like, come on, Riggs, will it to him. I watched that movie like 2 months ago, and I was doing some reports, and I had Lethal Weapon on, and it's like, anytime Jet Li was on the screen, my head was turned. And I think it's like a cheesy movie. It doesn't hold. I think it's not as good as it's like the fourth best in the franchise, but it just has such a charm to it with Chris Rock and Joe Pesci in there, and just the banter between all the guys, and it just kind of it's got some nostalgia for me for sure. So yeah, it was tough though. That was one of those ones where it's like, I'm gonna ask Rama. I want to see which one we would have to go. It's like, and I mean, Die Hard. Okay, another side segue question. Wouldn't you say that technically Lethal Weapon 1 is a little bit more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard?
Oh, that's a good point. I think that's an argument that can be had. But to your next topic, of course, I still have to go with Die Hard.
Yeah, I mean, Die Hard definitely is. And I was cooking some food the other day, and I had Lethal Weapon on, and it's like it has much more Christmas music to it. When Martin Riggs is out there questioning the prostitute and he gets shot with a shotgun, he blasts through all those Christmas decorations. At the very beginning of the film, he's trying to buy Coke from a guy that sells Christmas trees.
Yep. And also, that's Shane Black. And interestingly enough, Shane Black's Iron Man 3 was set in Christmas.
That's right.
Right?
That's
yeah.
Right. I remember that. Plus, and at the very end of Lethal Weapon, when Martin Riggs is sitting under the shadow of the Christmas tree, and he says, "We're going to get bloody on this one, Raj." Mm-hmm. I think it's a great Christmas movie. I think people always say, "Is Die Hard a Christmas movie or not?" And it's like, I definitely think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. But it's like people always like, wow, it's like you don't really hear too many people say that Lethal Weapon's a great Christmas movie. But man, it always takes me back.
I agree.
You see that 80s tree with all the tinsel all over it, all those tacky wrapped gifts underneath. It's a great movie. Which actually gets us into, speaking of Christmas movies, let's talk about our favorite Christmas movies. What do you, it's this time of year, I don't think any of the holidays really are synonymous with movies like Christmas is. I mean, there's not a lot of 4th of July movies or Easter movies out there, but everybody loves a Christmas movie. The Hallmark Christmas movies thrive on it. What are some of the ones that stick out to you?
Well, my top 3 favorites are, of course, Die Hard and Home Alone, the first one, and Love Actually. Those are my top 3 favorites. The favorite meaning I can watch them again and again and will never get tired of them.
I actually have to watch Love Actually. Who's in that? I've heard that name so many times. As soon as you say the names, I'll remember the poster of it, I'm sure.
It's all right. It's an ensemble cast, so like a star-studded kind of, where there's one of those movies that have like a lot of characters and subplots crossing paths. So like Bill Nye is in it, and then also Liam Neeson.
Okay, now I remember
Atkinson, Colin Firth, and it's Brit comedy. I'm a big fan of Brit comedy. I have a soft spot.
Very and well written for sure.
Exactly. And I think this is by the guy who gave us 4 Weddings and a Funeral. So the jokes are really good. And so you got to check it out. And Home Alone, Macaulay Culkin, of course, it's a classic with Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern. And unfortunately, they could not capture the magic on the second one. I really did not like the Lost in New York movie.
Yeah, that's another one that I always talk about with my friends. I mean, Home Alone's definitely on my list as well. I mean, I love Christmas movies. I got Die Hard on there, Christmas Vacation, Lethal Weapon. Friday After Next, I think, is one of the all-time great underrated Christmas movies because I think it's just literally a laugh fest from all 87 minutes of it. But I think Home Alone 2 is more of a remake of Home Alone than it is a sequel because, I mean, it is beat for beat the exact same movie with different plug-and-play pieces, and only it's like Macaulay Culkin is just a little too self-aware in 2. He's not that innocent kid anymore. He's kind of like a little shithead in part 2. To where it's like, I'm not really like you as much as I liked you the first time. You lost some of your innocence, I guess you could say.
Well, Friday After Next, thanks for mentioning that, man. That was a fantastic film, and that's a sequel. You don't say that quite often about a sequel. And it's like a Christmas comedy with weed and laugh out loud funny, man. Love it.
And I think the Friday trilogy is one of the great underrated comedic trilogies. As far as how many trilogies come out there with, 3 movies and be successfully funny. I mean, they didn't all have the same box office returns, but I mean, I think they were able to capture chemistry, laughs. There's so many interchangeable characters in that movie. Like I was just watching that one too the other day when I was putting up my Christmas tree. It's got a perfect musical score. I mean, it's just like it's a subtle Christmas movie. And it's just wild and great. But I mean, I like the Goonies or the Gremlins as well.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I think that's just got that great Christmas vibe to it. Or maybe more, I just like it because of all the snow. And it just reminds me of like a winter movie. I always love watching Scrooged with Bill Murray.
Ah, yes. That's
a classic. I think Bill Murray's just at his like kind of just dry best, just unrelentlessly just delivering that he's just a complete dick. Yes. But you like him still at the end,
I don't know if you watched this too, but I also like the Muppets Christmas Carol. Christmas Carol has been done in many renditions, but I love the Muppets version. I have a soft spot for that one.
Yeah, that's a great one. I like, and of course, all the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown Christmas Tree, all those great movies to watch. Those ones are the ones that really just pull me back to my childhood for sure.
And I gotta be honest with you. I know a lot of people hated this movie, but I actually, I'm probably one of the only people, kind of like our friend Zach Pope, who liked The Meg. I actually liked Jingle All the Way. I actually had fun watching Jingle All the Way.
It's fun.
I'm the only one probably. Turbo Man, the whole parade thing. And then
it's got Sinbad.
Yes, and Arnold was beating up all the Santas because the Santas were all bad guys.
And I mean, the reason that movie, and I'll agree with you because that movie is not great. I mean, I don't think Elf is that great. I think a lot of people like it more than me, but I mean, Jingle All the Way, Arnold committed.
Yeah,
he wasn't like sleepwalking it like a Bruce Willis would in one of these movies now. I mean, he was all in. So it's like, hey.
He was punching Santas. He was punching a reindeer.
Yeah, I mean you could just change that up a little bit, and that could be like a Black Friday Thanksgiving movie as well.
Yeah,
it's like it's like it could be the very first Christmas movie that you watch to kick off your season Thanksgiving night. Because basically, as soon as you wake up the day after Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving night when the stores open up, it's Christmas time in there. It's like Halloween's done, Christmas is already there. It has to be the movie that really kicks it off. And then at the very end of the season, you finish it off with some Bad Santa, Billy Bob Thornton. The sequel wasn't very good at all. I still think that first movie was a classic with Bernie Mac and John Ritter. Just great, just dark comedy that definitely isn't for everybody. But, I mean, that's a fun. If you're drinking and you got a few drinks in you and you're at a Christmas party with friends and family and it's like the kids are asleep, that's a fun one to put on when you're doing the dishes or sitting around the table talking and stuff like that. Just those lines will jump out at you.
Bad Santa made me view Fitting Room differently. Definitely.
Yeah, I'll always remember that. John Ritter's walking by and you can just see the shoes down there and he's just like, oh, God.
I was checking, before I go into the fitting room, I was checking like, nobody's
there. Yeah, especially during the holiday season. So to get a couple more questions for you before we wrap it up here, you were recently on the first ever episode of the LA Online Film Critics Society weekly show on the Popcorn Talk Network. I watched it. It was a great time. How was that experience?
Man, it was nerve-wracking. I was so nervous. I actually showed up 4 times already. So
have you had other showing since then?
Yeah, exactly. And my 4th time was I was sitting next to this beautiful woman, a friend of mine named Nikki Novak. So I always get nervous, and I oh, hello, are you there?
You're there. Yeah.
Whenever I get nervous, I speak very softly, and people have told me, like, that watch the I don't know if you get this impression too when you watched it, like, hey Rama, we can barely hear you compared to Scott and the other guys, because I'll be like talking really softly. It's like, okay, next time I'll just talk really close to the microphone because I get nervous softly. So that's probably my thing, my bug, because I get nervous. But
I think you hold your own though. I definitely think I watched the very first episode, and then the second time you were on. And the first time you were a little bit quiet, but I was like, how cool of an experience is that to be? I mean, just to be part of the Film Critics Society in general is awesome in its own. But to be invited over to the show, they obviously like what you're doing. They brought you back a few times. It's going to be fun to see more of you on there.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm honored. I'm humbled to be part of the LAOFCS. It's a very diverse membership. I guess not just written critics, but also YouTubers and podcasters, and of course, ethnic-wise, we're very diverse. And we just announced our winners. We'll have our ceremony in January. But so it's always an honor to be on the show, Popcorn Talk. They're always welcoming. But let me tell you this. Let me say this to you, Anthony, that. Yes, it's an honor to be on LAOFCS show, but it's also an honor to be on the Dynamic Duo show. So it's equal great. It's equal great, brother.
That's why I picked you first, man. You're my guinea pig. I was like, let me give you guys a little setup of how this show started. I had an idea, and I had ideas underneath that idea, but nothing was set in stone. And I was like, who should my first guest be? And I messaged Rama, and I was like, Rama, I texted him. I was like, I got an idea. I got an idea for a show. It's about this, and maybe a little bit of this, and some of this, but maybe not any of that. It could be some of this or some of that. And immediately, I'm 100% in, and that's awesome, man. I thank you so much. That's why I was like, I think it's kind of nerve-wracking for me to do this show. That's why I was like, I want someone that I could talk comfortably with and that has stuff to say, and that's why I was like, I'm equally thankful for you to be on the show with me. So before we wrap things up, let everybody know any collabs you're working on, any events coming up, what can they expect from you in the next couple months on the channel and on the official website? Yeah.
Before I get to that, just want to give you a compliment some more. I just said I look up to you because you have a full-time job. You have a house that you decorate. I see your pictures. With the Christmas decorations. You're married, so you have this busy life, but you still make time to be a YouTuber. So that's awesome, bro. And I love your insight as a reviewer. So keep doing what you do, and I think this show is gonna be great, the Dynamic Duos. And for my next stuff. As I said, I think I have the LOFCS award coming up in January. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be star-studded. This past year, we had Gary Oldman and Jessica Chastain show up. We'll see who shows up in this one. And for next week, I'm doing TV interviews with a movie called Escape Room. So Deborah Ann Woll.
Yes, saw the trailer for it.
Exactly. Deborah Ann Woll from Daredevil. So that's my press junket. And that's it. Looking forward to 2019.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your 2019 too, man. You keep me in the loop of all the stuff going. I swear, it's like I didn't even really realize it at first until it's like I'm driving around and I'm getting your alerts because I get your Facebook and the Twitter and the YouTube. So it's like Rama's chiming in. It's like, man, he wakes up the same time I wake up almost, and he's pumping it out all day long. So he's telling me, oh, press release came out for this, press release came out this, press release came out for that, this new trailer dropped for that, and then I go back to look through my emails and I'm looking at all the same, things that you've already read and you've covered for me. But no, man, I'm super thankful that you came onto this show. This is something that I kind of been planning for a while. It's probably definitely gonna have you on again as it gets a little bit more streamlined and I get my foot out of my mouth during some of the different. I'll work on my segues, but I don't think I really had any bad ones. But I think it went pretty good. I think we had a good time. Yeah. And like I said, guys, Rama does interviews, press junkets, reviews. He covers big blockbusters. He covers small films, indie films. He really has just a diverse collection of films. So if you're a movie nerd like we are, you guys got to go to his website, go to his Patreon, go to his Instagram. get all the news, because literally once you get all of Rama's alerts, you're going to be completely connected into what's going on in the world of movies, and that's what I do. So once again, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching the show. I hope you enjoyed the very first episode of Dynamic Duos, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a comment. I would love to hear from you all. Here are some links to some recent reviews just in case you missed them. The link to my official website, all my social media and merchandise store links are going to be down in the description below. And in the event, me talking to you guys about movies every couple days is not enough Anthony in your life, I now have a second YouTube channel with a growing collection of non-movie related content for you guys to check out, and I'll see you guys next time.